What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Ty. I'm back again with another episode, two-episode Sunday slash Monday. Right here in Germany, where I'm at right now, it's 2:54 a.m. I'm up watching the Dallas Philadelphia game. I'm gonna talk about that game in depth tomorrow. Right now, Philly is up 7-3. Carson Wentz has been was pretty effective on his first drive throwing the football, but they got a running touchdown by I didn't catch the guy's name, but it was one of their running backs. It wasn't Ajayi, but the other running back that they have. In Dallas, it looks like they're in the red zone right now at about the 11-yard line, and looks like they're getting ready to try to score. So we'll see how the rest of the game goes. I look forward to these type of games against the division rivalry type games. Philadelphia and Dallas, their rivalry goes back almost 50 years almost with these two teams. So, and it's a heated rivalry. So, only thing would have been better if the game was actually played in Philly, but it's in Dallas, so it'll be a good game to watch after I'm done doing this. Now, I wanted to get on here because I promised you guys a Mets, Knicks, and Sabres vlog, but I didn't get a chance to get around to it until now because, again, I like to get my sleep. I like to get my sleep on, and I was going to do it. I was actually going to film it earlier. Now yesterday, so earlier Sunday, but I was asleep most of the day. Got up around 4, and yeah, it was yeah. So I had a pretty good weekend. Had a lot of fun, hanging out with some friends and going out down here in Stuttgart. So I got in pretty late last night, and there it is. So that's the reason. So, but anyway, I'm gonna get into it right now with the other teams, with the Knicks, Sabres, and Mets. So the Knicks, last game that they played, they lost to the Raptors. They got completely dominated in this game. They lost 107-84. The Knicks had no answer for Kyle Lowry, who almost had a triple-double. He had 22 points, 8 rebounds, 10 assists. They took him out of the game, I think, early in the fourth quarter, midway through the fourth quarter, because Toronto just had such a stranglehold on the lead that, it was pointless to even leave him in the game. DeMar DeRozan for the Raptors, he also had 22 points. As far as the Knicks scoring goes, KP and Tim Hardaway, they were the leading scorers, but only had 13 points each. So, it's one of those games where you say, okay, the Knicks are talking about being a playoff contender. They're talking about, we're gonna be in the playoff, we're gonna be doing this and this, but the Raptors are one of the top teams in the East. They've been that way the last few years or so. And if this is any indication of what to expect against teams like Toronto, then the Knicks, if they are going to be a playoff team, they'll be a one and done. They'll be a three and out or 4 and out team. They'll get an 8th seed, they'll get a 7th seed. They'll play a team. They'll probably lose, the first round of the series. That's how I see the trajectory of the season going for the Knicks if they continue to have these types of efforts against the best teams in the East. The Western Conference, if they don't win, games against the West, especially when they go out and play teams in the West, it's understandable because the Western Conference is the most talented conference. I mean, they have the best players, they're the best teams, they have the best coaches in that conference. Of course from Golden State, it all starts with them, the defending champs, and then you got Houston. You got the Thunder, but despite their early slump, the early issues they have now with their record and with the team chemistry, they're gonna pick it up. They're eventually gonna be in that probably that 3rd, 4th seed in the West. So I'm not too worried about them. Um, Also, Minnesota Timberwolves have a really good coach in Tom Thibodeau, and then they have young talent. They have guys, Karl Anthony Towns and Jimmy Butler, bringing him in from Chicago, bringing some playoff experience with him, and showing the young guys how to play together. I mean, when the Knicks play these teams, I'm not expecting too much from them, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention San Antonio. I mean, with Coach Pop, one of the best coaches in any sport ever. As far as I'm concerned, a guy who consistently has his team competing for championships, not just playoff contention or anything like that. These guys are always in the mix to win championships. So you got to always mention the Spurs in that regard. But so with that said, the Knicks, I'm not expecting too much against these teams. But when you're playing against teams in your conference, teams you have a familiarization with, and teams that you should feel like you have, an advantage over because you've seen these teams and you've played against these teams a lot. This type of loss is indicative of a team that is not ready for, they're not ready for prime time, if you want to put it in those terms. They need to shore up their defense, the perimeter defense. I've said this in previous vlogs. The Knicks perimeter defense has been pathetic this year, and unless they get that squared away, and unless they get that get that turned around, it's not gonna, the Knicks are gonna be either not a playoff team, or they're gonna be a one and done first round exit team. And to me, that's not. I don't call that a successful season. I wouldn't look at that as a successful season on that end. So again, so the Knicks, they lose to the Raptors. Their next game. I didn't put it down here in my notes, but their next game is either tonight or tomorrow, I want to say, and I don't know who they're playing, so I apologize for being a little bit unprepared, but I wanted to get this out and talk a little bit about the Knicks and talk about their last game, and let you guys know what I was thinking about it. But I'll put a little bit more. I'll go a little bit more in depth. I'll do a game preview for the Knicks next game. In the next vlog. I will try to do one tomorrow, going over the Knicks, but it may end up being a strictly NFL vlog, so it may not come until Tuesday when I talk about the Knicks. So just want to be transparent and be straight up with you guys that it's not easy to do these every day, especially coming up with the content and following everybody, but again, I'll try to get a Knicks vlog in here before their next game, and if I don't, then I'll give you a good recap and everything like that, and talk about how they're doing. All right, so let's move on to the Mets. The Mets. This is going to be a real quick thing about the Mets. I saw an article on ESPN.com. It was one of their rumors insider entries that they put out, and they're talking about the possibility of the Mets going after this Japanese phenom that is coming to the major leagues this year. His name is Shohei Ohtani. And doing some research on him, some real quick research on him, and just listening to some of the experts talk about him, the Keith Laws and the Buster Olneys, and these guys that work with ESPN and do a really, really great job talking about talking about Major League Baseball, and talking about some of the things that could happen in the off season. Sounds like a dynamic player, guy who not only can hit, he was actually the 2016 hitter and pitcher of the year in the Japanese Nippon Baseball League, which is like the equivalent of Major League Baseball in Japan. So, and historically, some of their greatest players have come out of that league and gone to the Major League Baseball. One of the probably the best player to come over from that league to Major League is one of my favorite players of all time, in Ichiro Suzuki, a guy who played. He played many years in Seattle. Got 3,000 hits. Was it last year or the year before? I think it was the year before last. He got his 3,000th hit in the majors. Now, before he was, now let's remember, he was 27 when he joined the Mariners in 2001. He won the MVP and Rookie of the Year that year. So and since then, in less than, what was it? I think in less than 15 years or 15 seasons, he got 3,000 hits. So tremendous player, a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer, and a guy I admire, a guy I love to watch play. When I was living back in the States and living out west, I got to see a lot of the Mariners games because they come on at normal time, I guess you can call it, out there. So I was able to catch a lot of Mariners games and watch him play, and got to watch the 2004 season when he broke the hits record that was set by George Sisler years and years prior to that. So that was an amazing thing to watch. But if this guy Ohtani comes into the league and has a similar impact to Ichiro, then he's gonna be a tremendous player. Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention some of the other guys that's come out of Japan in recent years. Hideki Matsui for the Yankees. Tremendous career when he came over to Major League Baseball. Kazuhiro Sasaki, who was the closer for the Mariners back when Ichiro was there. So Japan has put out a lot of great talent in recent years and brought them over to the majors. Teams have had to pay a lot to get these guys, because they have to pay the teams I'm trying to remember the type of fee it is. It's like an entry fee or something like that, just to be able to bid on getting the player. And the team, if they get the player, they have to pay that amount, which can amount to millions and millions of dollars, just to be able to negotiate with the player. And then once they sign the player, they have to pay that. It's almost like an auction. It's I don't know. It's kind of disgusting when you think about it. It's, I don't really think it's that great, but I guess that's how these Japanese teams keep themselves afloat. When they lose tremendous players to Major League Baseball, then that can cut into their revenue, because maybe the fans won't be so adamant about going to the games and see the teams. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's the rationale behind it, but I think it's kind of stupid, and I think it's kind of disgusting that they do that. But soccer teams here in Europe, they do it all the time. They have those transfer fees and things like that one team to another has to pay. So it is what it is, but I don't know. I got other opinions about that, but I'm going to keep it moving, because then I'll get on a whole nother soapbox. Anyway, so this player, Ohtani, again, a guy who can hit for power, hit for average, also can throw anywhere between has a four-seam fastball in the 92 to 95 mile per hour range, can get it as high as 102 miles per hour on his fastball. So yeah, when there's a talent like that, I mean, you got to wonder, how are Major League Baseball teams going to use this guy? I mean, is he going to be exclusively a pitcher, and a guy who, with his hitting prowess, come off the bench every game and pinch hit, or when there are pinch hitting opportunities, is he going to come into the game and pinch hit every time? Is he going to be an everyday player? Are they going to maybe put him in the outfield with that strong arm? maybe he's an asset to play, left field, play right field. You know what I mean? So it's one of those it's one of those situations where this guy has supreme talent, but you have to, wonder how is he going to be utilized when he comes over to the majors. So is he going to go to an American League team as opposed to a National League team? If he, I have heard rumblings that he would like to play for a team that utilize the DH. So he may not be a guy who you can rely on to play. Maybe he'll pitch, every 5 days, and then he'll DH the other, the 5 days preceding the day he goes out on the mound. So, I mean, that could be an option for a team. So, really, really interesting player, and a really, really interesting scenario for a major league team if they decide to sign this guy. And personally, I hope the Mets do get him. I mean, we could use a little infusion of excitement in the team. However, with that said, I don't know. I'm not sure what the Mets payroll situation is. I know that this guy decided to come to the majors early, so that way he doesn't, he won't get automatically a $200-300 million contract. And I think that may be beneficial to the teams, so that way they can see what type of guy they're going to be getting and how they're going to use him. If this guy can pitch every 5 days and hit the other 4, and he's in the American League, like a team like the Yankees, I know they're always in the conversation to bring guys that are coming over from Japan. A team like Texas is a dark horse in this, given their the way the whole Yu Darvish situation was handled, and handled well on their part. So the Angels, these type of teams are always in the discussion for players of this magnitude. So if he can go to an American League team and do what I just said, pitch every 5 days and then throw and then hit in the DH role the other 4, then he's definitely worth $200-300 million a year. When you're talking about, or I'm sorry, $200-300 million contract over 10 years or whatever. That's definitely a guy that I would, if I was a Major League Baseball owner, will be willing to pay that. So we'll see how it goes. I'll have more information and talk a lot more about this as the off season progresses. I know they just had the general managers meetings in Orlando, Florida this past week, and so I'm sure there was a lot of talk about trades and things of that nature, and obviously about Ohtani. So when I get more information, I'll put it out here in the vlog and talk a lot about it. So I'm looking forward to the off season and seeing what happens with this seemingly great player. All right, finally, the Sabres. Man, Sabres, I would be a lot more disappointed with regard to their season if the Bills weren't as so disappointing right now. I'm sure, as at this juncture of the filming of this video, the Bills were completely manhandled by the Chargers, 54-24. I'm going to talk about this tomorrow in the NFL recap vlog. But when you're looking at the Sabres, they've lost. What have they lost now? 4 in a row, 4 in a row. They're now 5-10-4 on the year. They lost to Detroit Friday night, 3-1, and then they lost again last night to Carolina, 3-1. So, yeah, just uninspiring hockey right now by the Sabres. There's nothing, dynamic. There's nothing that sticks out for this team. They're either getting a decent goaltending. I mean, you can say that, but if their offense is not putting the puck in the net, then what's the point? You don't have a Dominic Hasek. You don't have a Ryan Miller in his prime back there. You got Chad Johnson and you got Robin Leonard. So it's up to the off. It's up to guys like Eichel. It's up to guys like Evander Kane. It's up to guys like Ryan O'Reilly, Kyle Oposo. These guys that are supposed to be the leaders of this team and the best players on this team. It's up to these guys to step up. I'm not going to really get into too much about them and bash them too much because it's early in the year. We're 19 games into the season, but if this is any indication of what we have to look forward to the rest of the year, then yeah, the Sabres will be picking again high in the draft. They'll be getting picking first or second, and maybe that's what they need. Maybe they need to get another guy. I can recall Pittsburgh. They had some tough times. About a decade or so ago. Well, actually, it's a little more than a decade or so ago. And then they got Sidney Crosby in one draft, and they got Malkin in another draft. And now these are the two of the best players in the world, and they've won multiple Stanley Cups since they've been there and come into the fold. So I don't know if that's what the Sabres are hoping for or what they're planning, but it's a terrible plan. I'm trying not to curse, so excuse me, but it's a terrible plan at this juncture. I think they have the players that they need to compete. They just need to play better. Period. And I get it. Phil Housley is his first year behind the bench, but you've seen rookie coaches, before, get their teams into the playoffs, and their teams are competitive. It's not even really a factor of wins and losses at this point. It's just about effort. If these guys don't come out and skate hard and hit people and get into the other team's face and do the things that are necessary to be more competitive than the other team, I wouldn't care if they lost games. If they lost 3-1 and led the game in hits and blocked shots and they got to the penalty box a lot, I wouldn't care. But these guys are showing no effort whatsoever when they go out there. They're just out there just chilling. They're out there skating around hoping for something to happen. But they need to make something happen. So that's my thing. That's my thing about the Sabres. They gotta play with more effort, and hopefully it'll start in the next game. So we'll see. All right, guys, that's it for me. It was a pleasure talking to you guys. I'm glad I was able to get this one to you guys about the Knicks, Mets, and Sabres. Tomorrow, whenever I decide to wake up, I don't know when that's going to be because it's 3:00 in the morning here and I'm still wide awake. So I'll try to get one. I'll definitely get a vlog in before the Monday night game. I'll give a quick, I'll give a recap of the Sunday games, and then I'll talk a little bit about the Monday night game, give you a little bit of a preview again of that game, and also give you my pick once again for that game in case you missed the last episode. And then Tuesday, I will either late tomorrow or Tuesday, I'll do a Knicks, Mets, Sabres vlog and talk a little bit about them, and then we'll take it from there. So again, thanks again for watching. Thanks for the support. Again, if you want to hit me up, my Twitter handle is at MRTYECEE. You can go on the blog site. It's Tyrone.tv. You can send me a message from there. Also, you can email me directly at Tyrone.tv. So again, thanks again for watching. Thanks for the support, and I'll see you next time. Have a good night. Peace.